Some people move through life like shadows, their smiles carefully placed, their words measured, their silences intentional. They laugh, they converse, they nod, but beneath the surface a quiet storm often rages. Emotions are tucked away, hidden behind a mask of composure, protecting them from scrutiny, rejection, or misunderstanding. In a world that prizes openness, transparency, and self-expression, those who hide their true feelings can feel invisible, even to themselves. Yet their restraint is not weakness. It is a complex dance of survival, self-preservation, and emotional calibration. To understand them is to peer into the delicate architecture of the human psyche, where vulnerability and protection coexist, where longing and caution intertwine, and where silence can be both a refuge and a prison. This is the psychology of people who hide their true feelings, and the story it tells about all of us. Sometimes the first sign that someone hides their true feelings is not in what they say, but in what lingers unsaid. There are pauses that stretch longer than expected, glances that seem to retreat into themselves, and smiles that arrive a second too late. Perhaps you have met someone like this, or perhaps, quietly, you recognize it in yourself. There is a subtle weight carried in these moments, a tension between presence and concealment, an unspoken truth that the world rarely notices. It is easy to mistake composure for ease, serenity for confidence, or silence for indifference. Yet those who hide their emotions are anything but indifferent. Beneath measured expressions and polite nods, there are currents of longing, anxiety, and vulnerability flowing quietly. Their restraint is not absence of feeling, but the presence of a delicate awareness, a knowledge that emotions, once exposed, can be misunderstood, judged, or dismissed. Each word spoken, each reaction shared, is weighed against the potential cost of revelation. In social spaces, they often appear adaptable, even charming. They can navigate conversation with ease, laugh at jokes, and offer empathy when others falter. But there is a subtle rhythm that repeats across interactions, the careful selection of what to reveal and what to protect. It is a rhythm born not from deception, but from self-preservation. These individuals have learned, often over years, that emotional transparency is a fragile currency, one that can be spent too freely, only to leave them exposed and unsettled. You may notice, if you watch closely, the contradictions they carry. Their eyes may flicker with quiet sorrow, or light up with joy that seems almost secret. Their hands may tremble with emotion they do not voice. Even in moments of outward calm, there is an undercurrent of tension, a private conversation within themselves that is hidden from the world. These contradictions are the first markers of a deeper psychology, one shaped by experience, memory, and the subtle negotiation between vulnerability and safety. Recognition of this pattern is both a mirror and a lens. To see someone hiding their feelings is to confront a universal human tension, the desire to be understood versus the fear of exposure. It is in these moments that the mind begins to notice patterns, the quiet retreats, the pauses before laughter, the thoughtful silences that seem to stretch beyond normal expectation. Each instance tells a story of care, caution, and complexity. It is a story that often goes unnoticed by casual observers, yet it shapes the way relationships are formed, trust is built, and intimacy is expressed. To acknowledge this is not to pity, nor to judge. It is to recognize the subtle mastery required to navigate a world that often demands performance. The act of concealing feelings is paradoxically an act of strength. It requires attention, insight, and restraint. It requires the courage to manage internal turbulence while maintaining external equilibrium. Those who hide their emotions are constantly negotiating the delicate line between authenticity and protection, learning over time where it is safe to reveal and where it is wiser to remain unseen. In this quiet beginning, there is both beauty and fragility. The recognition of hidden emotions allows us to approach these individuals with empathy, to appreciate the layers of inner life that others overlook. It reminds us that beneath the calm exterior of many, a storm of feelings may move, unseen but profoundly real. To recognize this is the first step in understanding and perhaps in honouring the courage it takes to live with both sensitivity and restraint. The habit of hiding emotions rarely begins in adulthood. It takes root quietly, often in the tender soil of childhood, shaped by early experiences and subtle lessons learned long before conscious awareness. For some, it begins in the absence of validation, in homes where feelings were dismissed, corrected, or punished. A child who cried too loudly, laughed too freely, or expressed sadness too openly might have learned, through gentle or harsh consequence alike, that restraint was safer than expression. Over time, this restraint becomes instinctive, a silent guide for navigating the world. Attachment patterns in early life also play a pivotal role. Children attuned to unpredictable caregivers may develop hypervigilance, sensing that emotions could trigger conflict, disapproval, or withdrawal. In these dynamics, the child learns to suppress, mask, or redirect feeling, becoming an expert at managing the unseen currents of their inner world. Even small moments, a sigh left unacknowledged, a joy uncelebrated, can leave lasting imprints. These experiences teach lessons that echo far into adulthood, that feelings are precious, yet dangerous, if displayed without caution. Cultural and societal expectations add another layer to this pattern. Certain environments prize stoicism, composure, or rationality over vulnerability. From a young age, individuals internalize messages about how they should feel or how much of themselves is safe to share. The act of concealing emotions becomes a negotiation with these norms, a way to belong without losing oneself. Over time, the lessons compound. To survive socially and emotionally, one must master the art of measured expression. Trauma, both subtle and overt, can deepen the need for emotional concealment. Experiences of betrayal, ridicule, or emotional neglect often leave invisible scars. A confidant who revealed too much only to be dismissed, a parent who demanded perfection, or a peer who mocked sensitivity, all teach the mind that feelings carry risk. In response, the psyche develops protective mechanisms. Emotional transparency is no longer an unguarded bridge to connection. It becomes a potential liability. With repetition, this protective strategy solidifies into habit, a habitual turning inward that can feel both natural and necessary. Even positive lessons can reinforce this pattern. A child praised for calm problem solving or lauded for independence may internalize the idea that visible emotion is less valuable than measured thought. They learn to navigate life quietly, to manage turmoil internally, and to present an exterior of composure, even while currents of joy, grief, or anxiety surge beneath. In adulthood, these early lessons become automatic. The individual may not consciously choose concealment, they simply live it, as naturally as breathing. The interplay of these origins, the home, the culture, the subtle traumas, the early social lessons, creates a psychological architecture that can appear contradictory to the outside observer. On one hand, these individuals may be highly empathetic, sensitive and perceptive. On the other, they can seem distant, unreadable, or even detached. This duality is a product of necessity. The outer world is navigated with caution, while the inner world remains rich, turbulent, and intensely private. It is a survival strategy, honed over years, that allows the individual to maintain control over the most fragile and intimate aspects of their experience. Understanding these origins fosters empathy. It reminds us that emotional concealment is rarely a conscious choice born of laziness, avoidance, or indifference. It is a response to the complexities of human experience, an adaptation to circumstances where emotional exposure was once unsafe. The layers of history, culture, and personal experience combine to form a shield, one that protects both identity and vulnerability. To see it clearly is to recognize both the cost and the resilience embedded in a life lived quietly, yet profoundly. Even as these origins are traced, the story does not end in past experience. They lay the foundation for the patterns that follow, the psychological explanations, inner conflicts, and eventual paths toward awareness and integration. To understand where this behavior begins is to glimpse the delicate architecture of the human heart, a structure built as much for survival as for depth, as much for protection as for life fully felt. Beneath the visible calm of someone who hides their emotions lies a complex architecture of the mind. Psychology offers a lens to understand this quiet mastery, revealing mechanisms that govern behavior, perception, and emotional experience. At the heart of it is emotional regulation, the ability to monitor, modulate, and respond to feelings in ways that maintain equilibrium. For those who conceal, regulation often becomes an art form, practiced daily with subtle precision. Every word, every gesture, every pause is measured, an unconscious negotiation between expression and self-protection. Defense mechanisms, a concept first explored by Freud and later expanded by modern psychology, provide another key to understanding. Suppression, for example, allows an individual to intentionally withhold emotion from conscious display. Repression operates similarly, though at a deeper, often unconscious level, keeping painful or destabilizing feelings out of immediate awareness. These mechanisms are not signs of weakness or avoidance. They are adaptive responses, honed to preserve psychological stability in an environment where vulnerability might have once felt dangerous. Attachment theory offers further insight. Individuals with avoidant or anxious avoidant attachment styles often develop a propensity to conceal emotions. Early experiences of inconsistent caregiving teach the mind that emotional expression may not yield safety or comfort. In adulthood, this manifests as self-reliance, caution, and selective sharing. The outer calm they present masks an inner vigilance, a continual assessment of which feelings are safe to reveal and to whom. In essence, hiding emotions is an evolved form of relational strategy. It protects against harm while preserving the possibility of connection, carefully calibrated and context-dependent. Neuroscience supports this understanding, demonstrating how the brain processes reward, social feedback, and threat. The amygdala, sensitive to perceived danger, can trigger heightened awareness when emotions feel unsafe to express. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for planning, decision-making, and impulse control, works in tandem, weighing the potential social consequences of outward expression. Over time, the repeated activation of these networks creates neural patterns, habits that guide behavior automatically. Emotional concealment becomes intuitive, almost invisible to the individual themselves, yet profoundly impactful on how they interact with the world. Another psychological principle at play is the concept of self-presentation, the conscious and unconscious management of how others perceive us. Social psychologists note that individuals continuously calibrate behavior to balance authenticity with acceptance. For some, the equilibrium leans toward preservation. Each smile, each word, each laugh is filtered through a lens of potential interpretation, judgment, or misunderstanding. In hiding their true feelings, they maintain a measure of control over their inner life, protecting identity, dignity, and relational integrity. Cognitive patterns also contribute. Those who hide emotions often engage in high levels of introspection and self-monitoring. They notice subtle cues in themselves and others, anticipating outcomes, predicting reactions, and adjusting accordingly. This constant analysis is not merely overthinking. It is an adaptive strategy for navigating the social world safely. It comes at a cost, however. The energy expended in maintaining these internal calculations can leave them feeling exhausted, misunderstood, or isolated, even when interactions appear seamless on the surface. Finally, the psychology of reward and motivation provides clarity. Humans are wired to seek connection and validation, yet those who conceal emotions often derive satisfaction from internal rather than external reinforcement. The quiet awareness that one's inner life is intact, private, and unmanipulated offers a form of psychological ownership, a sense that certain parts of existence remain untouchable, sacred, and unobserved. It is a subtle but profound form of agency, where the mind finds safety and fulfillment not in display, but in integrity. Through this scientific lens, hiding emotions is revealed not as dysfunction, but as a nuanced interplay of brain, mind, and experience. It is the convergence of biology, psychology, and learned behavior, an intricate dance between self-protection and self-awareness. Understanding these mechanisms deepens empathy, allowing the observer to recognize that restraint is often an artful balance of strength and vulnerability, a silent testament to the complexity of being human. Even as hiding emotions becomes habitual, it is rarely without inner turbulence. Beneath the calm exterior lies a subtle, constant negotiation, a tension between the desire to protect oneself and the yearning to be truly known. This inner conflict is quiet but persistent, like a low hum in the background of consciousness. The mind debates the cost of disclosure against the comfort of concealment, weighing the potential warmth of connection against the possibility of misunderstanding or rejection. For many, this tension is felt most acutely in moments of intimacy. A kind word, a question asked with genuine curiosity, or the presence of someone trusted can awaken emotions long kept in reserve. Yet with each stirring of feeling comes hesitation. Should they speak? Could they be vulnerable without consequence? The answer is never simple, and each decision to remain silent reinforces the pattern, while each impulse to share carries a whisper of risk. This delicate balance can feel simultaneously protective and confining. The conflict often manifests as self-critique thoughts circle inward. Am I overreacting? Is it worth showing this side of myself? Will they understand? Or will I be judged? These reflections, though rational, are filtered through years of conditioned restraint. Emotional honesty becomes an act of courage, and with courage comes fear. Even small gestures, a sigh, a subtle change in tone, a fleeting expression, are carefully moderated. The mind works tirelessly to maintain equilibrium, preserving both safety and identity. Resistance is amplified by social norms and the digital age. In a world where emotions are broadcasted as status updates, reactions, and public displays, the choice to withhold can feel alien. Individuals sense the discrepancy between themselves and the external environment. They witness peers sharing freely, receiving affirmation, and forming connections through vulnerability, while they remain inward, unrecognized, or misunderstood. The comparison is subtle, often subconscious, but its effect is tangible. A quiet questioning of whether concealment is wise, or whether it is a barrier to belonging. Yet the resistance is not purely social. It is deeply personal, rooted in an internalized understanding of risk. Vulnerability demands exposure, and exposure threatens control. Hiding feelings becomes a protective rhythm, a choreography learned over years, but one that comes with emotional cost. While the surface may appear serene, internally there is an ongoing negotiation, a desire for authenticity, a need for privacy, a fear of harm, and a longing to connect. These forces pull in opposite directions, creating the tension that defines the emotional landscape of those who hide their true selves. This inner struggle is often accompanied by heightened empathy and awareness. Individuals who conceal emotions notice subtleties that others overlook. The fleeting expression of sadness in a friend's eyes, the unspoken tension in a room, the invisible burdens carried by strangers. This sensitivity can be both gift and curse. It allows for deep understanding and meaningful perception, yet it also reinforces self-restraint. The very attunement that fosters insight often amplifies caution. Each emotional interaction becomes a measured negotiation, and each relationship a complex dance between intimacy and self-preservation. Paradoxically, the conflict between concealment and expression often fuels a quiet, reflective strength. Those who wrestle with these opposing forces develop resilience, patience, and self-awareness. They learn to navigate the delicate boundary between exposure and safety, gaining insight into both themselves and the human condition. Though unseen, this inner work shapes character, cultivates depth, and refines perception. The struggle itself becomes a silent teacher, revealing the intricate balance required to inhabit a world that both demands authenticity and punishes overexposure. Inner conflict and resistance are not flaws. They are the echoes of experience, the residue of lessons learned, and the guardians of psychological safety. Understanding this struggle invites compassion, both for oneself and for others. It reminds us that behind every reserved smile, every quiet glance, and every measured gesture, there is a rich, complex interior, an ongoing dialogue between desire and restraint, connection and protection, risk and wisdom. It is here, in the hidden chambers of thought and feeling, that the human mind quietly wrestles with the paradox of emotional life. In the stillness of hidden emotions, there is quiet power. Life exists not only in words or displays, but in moments held within. Those who conceal their hearts move with attentiveness, noticing what others miss and guarding fragile truths. Their silence is not emptiness, it is depth, presence, and the courage to live authentically, unseen. Meaning does not need an audience, and connection does not demand display. The most profound parts of life, love, sorrow, joy, transformation, bloom quietly, unshared. In these hidden spaces, they remind us to be human is not to perform, but to feel, to observe, and simply to endure.